Welcome everyone to the Standing Lounge. I'm Stevie B. Today I want to talk to you about one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid. Now I used to watch this a lot and I still watch it through the years. I have some facts that I want to share with you as well as some stories, but we'll get to that at the end of the video. This film stars Charlie Sheen, Randy Quaid, Sherilyn Fenn, and Nick Cassavetes. Alright, let's talk about The Wraith, a cult classic that came out November 21st, 1986. This is a wild ride of action that brings supernatural elements, fantasy, sci-fi, horror, even romantic tension to the big screen. The setting? A small town in Arizona that's terrorized by a vicious gang of street racers. Thugs. They dominate the roads, forcing locals into dangerous races and taking their cars. Basically racing for pink slips. You lose the race, you lose your car. Then out of nowhere, a mysterious black turbocharged car appears and a driver that's all dressed in black, known only as the Wraith. This figure starts challenging them one by one and eliminating them through spectacular explosive races. This movie blends elements of revenge, supernatural mystery, and good old-fashioned car chases. Sheen plays Jamie, a quiet local who's seemingly connected to the Wraith's appearance, while Sherilyn Fenn delivers a captivating performance as Carrie, the objective of both Jamie's and the gang leader's affections. Nick Cassavetes portrays the ruthless gang leader, Packard Walsh, and Randy Quaid adds that touch of quirky humor, as he typically would, as the local sheriff trying to piece everything together and figure out what the hell is going on. This film raises intriguing questions about identity, vengeance, and consciousness of violence. It's a story that unfolds with a sense of mystery and suspense, keeping you guessing about the true nature of the Wraith until the very end. Ultimately, the Wraith delivers exactly what it promises. High-octane action with that touch of fantasy, sci-fi, supernatural feel, with a whole lot of 80s nostalgia packed into it. If you're looking for something that's a little offbeat and fun, I would definitely recommend checking this one out. Just buckle up for the ride. Now I must say that this film had some awesome cars in it. Okay, I grew up around cars and racing my whole life. Now, by no means am I can turn a wrench, but I'm not some master mechanic, know-it-all car guy. That's not me. Okay, by no means. But my dad worked for a race car company for 30 plus years, which I ended up working for. My bosses were race car drivers. My grandpa and aunt were really good at working on cars. I had uncles that were race car drivers. So I've been around that. Friends that had some really cool cars in high school. So I've been around that. But this movie, man, a 1977 Corvette, an 86 and 87 Dodge Daytona, a Barracuda, a 77 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am, which had a big blower on it. It was cool. But the one, now this is one of those moments when I was a kid, okay? The first time that black car came on screen, I was like, what is that? And I was probably like 8, 9, 10, somewhere in that vicinity of age when I first started watching this movie, okay? And it's like, what is that? And it's a Dodge M4S Turbo Interceptor. Like, Turbo Interceptor? Like, that is just an amazing name for a car, isn't it? But one thing about that car is it never made it to production, as far as my knowledge. Like, this car was made in the early 80s, and it was supposedly, it did some pace car work for the Indy 500, and then it was made for this movie. And it was, I believe, a 2.2 liter turbocharged. I mean, the thing went from 0 to 60 in 4.1 seconds or something like that. The top speed was supposed to be almost 200 miles an hour for a four-banger. That's pretty wild back in that time. So that's cool, you know. But that car was slick, all black. Doors opened up like a Lamborghini. The trunk, I mean, it was cool. I'll throw some pictures up on here. But it's just amazing. Like, I love the car. I still think it's a sweet looking ride. I would love to have one. right? Like, come on. Some other facts about the movie is Charlie Sheen apparently was only on set for one day. He did all of his shooting because he had to get ready to go over to the Philippines to shoot Platoon, which is another great movie from the 80s. Randy Quaid was on set for a week. He had some ties with Saturday Night Live. There was some sets, a burger joint that was built just for this movie and then taken down. So the little cool facts like that I always find interesting, you know, especially when a movie that means something to you from back in your childhood. Now, this movie is rated R, okay? And I get that. You're, oh, why was he watching that at that age back then? Well, things were different. Different time era back then. Watching this movie, right? Especially you have your parents in the room or, you know, oh, you got to cover your eyes. There's a scene coming up that you shouldn't see, or cover your ears. You remember that when you're a kid. They're like, cover your eyes, cover your ears, all that. Well, you know, then you do one of these, right? And then you're like, I've never seen that before. And then you get yelled at, right? No, I'm just kidding. But that's true. You do that. Like, I'm not BSing about that. That happens. That's the thing, because you want to know what's like, why can't I see this? Like, what's going on here? So there was some romantic scenes in here. So just in case you plan on watching this. But yeah, I watched it with my grandpa. He loved it. There were some parts in here that I remember him laughing at. So it's just good. It's a cool movie. I know it's from the 80s, but it's got that feel to it. And another thing that's great about this movie is the soundtrack. Okay? 80s movies have the best soundtracks ever. We had Ozzy Osbourne on here, Motley Crue, Jill Michaels, Robert Palmer. Like, this soundtrack is fire. I've actually tried to look for it from time to time to get it off the secondary market like eBay, but it's pretty pricey because I'm a physical guy. I like to own it. Obviously I have the songs downloaded, but I like to have a copy. I like to go through and read the pamphlet, the booklet that it comes with, and see all. Like, that would be a cool job. I've always wanted to have that type of job, to be the music guy, or I don't know what you would even call that, the music director, or he picks the songs to put in with scenes, because I've always, like, in my head, I'm like, that song would be cool in this movie, or that part. That would be fun. So there's some song, Lion, Never Surrender, one of my favorite songs on here. I'll put a link in the description, check it out. Great rockin' song from the 80s. Kind of pumps you up. It's great. So yeah, that's some of my thoughts and take on the Wraith. Drop a comment. Let me know if you've seen this movie or if you plan on watching it. I believe you can watch it for free on YouTube. I would say go to your local video store, but that ain't a thing anymore. You know, that's always something to do on a Friday, Saturday night, on a little date or something. Watch something different. It's a cool movie, and what I love is it adds all the elements of things that I'm into. Cars, sci-fi, fantasy, action, jammed right into one movie. So that's cool. So there it is. There's my take on the Wraith, why I enjoy it. Hopefully I gave you some insight where you find it interesting and want to check it out. Don't forget to hit that button that looks like a thumb. Subscribe, do all the normal YouTube mumbo jumbo stuff. I'd appreciate it very much. And stay tuned. I plan to do other videos like this, from blast from the past movies and music, and we'll have some fun. And remember, everyone is welcome here.